14, listen to this hint, please. Look at me, no one talk, no one talk. Listen to this hint. There are certain things you're learning for the AP test that even once you understand them, it doesn't make them really much easier. It's still a lot of work to get it done. This is different. This is one that it might take a few minutes to understand it, make sense of the idea. But if you will make sense of the idea, not just memorize it, it becomes extremely easy in the future. But I would agree with you that it would be frustrating the first time you encounter the problem to make sense of it. So let's just talk as long as we need to so that everyone's like, oh, I get it now, it makes sense to me, then it won't be hard ever again. They're describing a particle moving, and on this one they did switch it up on you a little bit. They said the particle moves along the y-axis. Yeah. So that means the particle is simply going up and down instead of left and right. It does not make the problem harder, you just think about it slightly differently. So here we go. The particle is moving up and down a line that's vertical. Please remember, this is not a graph. This is just a picture of the particle's movements. We put the origin always at 0. They tell us in the problem that the particle begins its travels at a position of, let's say, time equals to the particle is at a y position of -1. So here's the location of the particle at the beginning of the story, -1. This is where the particle is at time equals 0. So we'll just put the particle right here. The particle's sitting there. Questions? Okay, 14 says find the position of the particle at time equal 2. Last period we figured out a way to find the position of a particle as long as we know the velocity of the particle. Someone just remind me, how can we, I don't need all the steps, just need to get started. Like, what would you do first? Yeah, I want to make an integral, 2 points for Deborah, 3 actually. So I want to integrate. Somebody else, what do I want to be integrating? Go. So I want to go over the time period 0 to 2. 3 tickets for Sydney. And what I integrate is what I put here. It's called the integrand. What gets integrated. So Bailey. Perfect. So integrate the velocity over time. You all have a calculator. If you haven't done this problem, I would just do it with me as we're doing it. If you've already done it, you might already have that. So here's our formula for velocity. So I'll pay everyone who does this and gets an answer. I'll just walk real quick. If you have a question on using the calculator, just stop me. If you've already done it, you don't need to do it again. Raise your hand if you have an answer for the integral, please. So Deborah's got it. Sydney's in, Bailey's in, Chad's in. Who else has an answer to the integral? Kelsey's in, Seth's in, Hallie's in, Ashley, Ray, and you're all getting 2 points whenever I say your name. Bailey's in. Who else has it? Haley, sorry, Kelsey, what do you got? Louder.
-0.96.
They do not give units in this problem, but as I talk about problems on the board, it's a lot better if I use units so that you make sense of the ideas. So all eyes on the board for a second. Everyone look up. Sorry, look up just a second. Okay, make sure when you're working this problem you don't write down units because there are none. But on the board I'm going to add units so that it makes better sense as we talk about it. So someone earn the tickets and tell me if we integrate velocity and we get -0.361. We've been using units of like meters per second, meters per second squared. Which of those units would apply to the -0.361 per hand? All who know ours, okay, everybody. What units apply to the -0.361? You've got to keep track of units. FRQs have unit points. Landon?
Since we're integrating velocity, it would give us the position.
Nice. Just be careful though. It never gives you the position.
Yeah, it gives you the change.
Change in position. Units would be the same, but just be careful with that. So the units here we'll say are meters. Everybody knew it before he said it. 2.3 per minute. Who needs help understanding the units? Buddy? When you are finding a change in position, this is going to be units of meters, or feet, or whatever. Okay, so in the context of the story, what that tells you is, this is the amount, like this is how different the position will be from what it is at time 0. So this is how much different the position will be at time 2 from what it was at time 0. That's what's denoted by this number. So I want everyone raising their hand on this. So, raise your hand if you can tell me. Is the new position of the particle at time equal 2 going to be down here, like below this, or is it going to be above this based on this number? Hands up if you can tell me. Will the position be above or below based on that Amanda?
Below.
Amanda says below because it's telling you at time 0 the particle was somewhere. Its new position at time 2 will be this amount different than what it is. So since the position is -1, the new position is this much more negative than it currently is. So that puts the new position here approximately at -1.361. That's at time equal 2. And here's the particle sitting there at time equal 2. Cammy knew it before she said it. She has 2.3 for Amanda. Question, please.
Would it be correct in saying, like, thinking the integral plus the position at 0?
Mm-hmm. It's exactly what you did. It's perfect, Sarah.
Okay.
So what you said was this. The position of the particle at 0, we know that to be 1. The position of the particle at 0 is 1. All we have to do is say, let's go figure out by what amount is that position going to be different. So when we do the integral from 0 to 2 of the velocity, it all works out perfectly. We are calculating the position of the particle at time 2. So at time 2, the particle was at -1. The integral tells us by what amount that position becomes something different. Because the position is becoming more negative, that's why we know the position at time 2 is a -1.361. Two tickets for Sarah. It's perfect. Other follow-up question? Show me one or two of everything on the board at this point makes perfect sense to you. Show me one or two of everything on the board at this point makes perfect sense. I'm going to watch the video from last time. It's still a bit fuzzy. Go ahead and keep talking. Sorry. Good man. I knew I could count on you. You were all saying you transferred out. No, wait, there's no transfer. 2 points from talk to me, Ty. You have any questions?
No, I don't even know what it's like. I understand fully, just I don't understand the idea of why.
No worries. Let's just go a little piece at a time. You asked that perfectly. Are you comfortable with the idea that when we integrate velocity, we find a change in position? Okay, so you're good there. So the struggle is probably just understanding what we really mean by change in position. Think of it this way. All this means is that if the particle were here at time equals 0, at time equal 2, I can tell you with certainty that the new position is negative of what the old position was because of the negative sign. And the amount that it's negative from the old one is that number right there, 0.361. That's what change of position means. It's saying, okay, here's where the particle is right now at time 0. At time 2, the new position will be more negative than the current position. And how much more negative? This amount. So then when we came over here, we said, okay, what is that position? Well, let's just stay here. So at time equals 0, what was the particle's location? Oh, it was at a y value of -1. This says the position is going to become more negative by how much? That amount. So if you're at -1 and you want to get more negative by 0.3, you're now at -1.3.
Yeah.
Good work, Todd. 3 tickets. Everybody else? 3 extra tickets for watching the video. Good work. Put a lot of time into those items. Sorry.
Well, I just want to check. So on like 13, it's like part of the same problem. It says it's the speed of the particle increasing or decreasing at t equals 2. So for that, don't you just take the integral from 0 to 1 and see, because that, like at that, it's only changing 0.017, and then because at 2 it changes more, that means it's increasing.
Oh, great question. Free tickets, really good question. Your logic is very good, but for the AP Calculus test, it's just a tiny bit flawed, because they expect you to understand that even though you checked at time 1 and time 2, something could have happened between to change the result. And so theoretically, you'd have to change it. You'd have to check at time 1.999999999 forever. And so I'll show you a better way to do this, like quicker, easier, faster, and you'll always get the points. But your way to me is logical. It just has a bit of a flaw. Good question.
Question number 1, because we had questions like, in the fourth, what we do use acceleration, we did like this times this divided by this times this. So how do you check this?
Gotcha. We'll go back to this one. Don't forget the question though. I want to finish here. That's perfect. Really well stated. 3 tickets. You know it's fuzzy here so far. We still haven't got to the part I think Kelsey was most interested in. I'm guessing.
The justifying.
Yeah. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Like I'm assuming you were able to find the position. Okay. So we know now the position is this value, and so we box this so the grader can tell that I finished that portion of the problem. Okay, anybody else have a question to that point? Okay, now the next part she said is right here. Is the particle moving toward the origin or away from the origin at time equal 2? All of you can answer this pretty easily. When we're talking about movement of particles or movement of anything, we're always talking about the position of the particle, the acceleration of the particle, the velocity of the particle. Just raise your hand and answer this. Which of those 3 indicates the direction that the particle is moving? Hands up. Is it the position, velocity, or acceleration that always tells you, without fail, which way the particle is moving? It's only one of the 3. I haven't emphasized this heavily, but you do need to get this memorized. Which of those 3 will tell you which way the particle is moving? And it's only one of the 3. Holly?
Velocity.
Holly says velocity. How many agree? 2 tickets, 3 for Holly. And what aspect of the velocity, this is not meant to be tricky, you know the answer. What about the velocity tells you which way the particle is moving? Sorry. Sign. So what you want to do on this problem, Kelsey, is simply, we know where the particle is located. We just want to find out which way it's moving. So we're going to go find the velocity. So you write on your paper, I want to find v of 2. And you use your calculator to find that velocity. So please.
Negative 0.436.
Negative 0.436.
Yeah.
And in our made-up problem here, this would be meters per second, 3 points for height. So here's the summary idea, Kelsey. The particle is sitting right here. The particle has a negative velocity. So at that moment, time equal 2, is the particle moving down, Kelsey, or is the particle moving up? It's moving down because you found the velocity to be negative. Either 1 or 2, what she just said makes perfect sense to you. What Kelsey just said makes perfect sense to you, 1 or 2. No votes. People abstaining, like have a principle I just won't vote. Okay, let's say it one more time. Lindsay, help me just a second. I know you can answer these. Okay, it tells us right here that the position at time 2 is a negative 1.361. Okay, when we talk about particle motion, the word origin always refers to a location of 0. It's not time 0, it's just a location of 0. So we know that at time equal 2, this is the location. So are you perfectly clear that that means that the particle is located down from the origin?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, at that moment, we discovered via the calculator that this is the velocity. Are you okay with that? Okay. The negative sign on the velocity tells you which way the particle is moving. So here's where the particle is located. It's at time equal 2. At that moment, this is the velocity. So is the particle going up or down at that moment?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. So all you do now is write that down for the grader.
How did you get, or what is the velocity equation?
Oh, no worries. So the velocity equation was up here.
Is it the v of t 1 minus?
Yes.
Okay.
So she just used that, put it in her calculator, plugged in a 2, and figured out the velocity.
Okay.
3 tickets, well done. So all that's left to do, Kelsey, is this. Write down for the grader, say, since the position at 2, okay? Now you can write the word is negative if you like, but I joke in all my classes that I'm lazy and don't want to write is negative. So I have a very cool way to write is negative. Here it is, watching. Is negative. Another question on that? Beats writing is negative. Okay, so since the position is negative and the velocity is negative, the particle is moving away from the origin. That's all you have to write. Please, Sarah.
So if v of 2 was positive, but then like let's say like if the position was positive, but the velocity was negative, then that would mean it was moving towards the origin even though the velocity is negative.
Well done. You're doing exactly what you should do. You're extending the idea to future problems. So Sarah said, let's draw a new picture. Here's our origin. And you said the position now at time 2 is what?
If it's like just positive.
Positive. So we'll just put a dot up here and say, here we are, location 6, I don't know. So the position at time 2 now is 6. Keep talking, you're doing great.
And then let's say the velocity is like negative 2.
The velocity is at time 2, we'll say negative 3, just not mix up the numbers.
Okay.
So the velocity at time 2 is negative 3. We'll ask the whole room now, because you got it, I can tell. So raise your hand if you can tell me if this were the problem, is the particle moving towards the origin or away? Hands up. Is the particle moving towards the origin or away? Hands up. Lindsay.
Yeah.
Lindsay says towards. How many agree? 2 points, 3 for Lindsay. Perfect. Particle's moving towards the origin. And again, Sarah, if it says justify your answer, which it will, all you write is since the position is positive and the velocity at time 2 is negative, particle is moving. Hello.
Good.
Where's the sound?
They seem to drinking that yesterday.
It's very exciting.
That's weird.
Walk in and find out. So since particle is moving towards the origin. Three tickets, Sarah. Well, really well stated question. Please, Bailey.
So what if your velocity is like more than your position? So if your velocity was like negative 13, and would it be moving away from the origin? Would you end up farther, or would it still be moving towards?
Oh, outstanding. Okay, look up, look up, look up, look up. Here's what Bailey said. She says, okay, great, this makes sense to you. But she said, what if you have this situation? She said, got the line again. Here's the origin. Makes it tough. Let's say this is 3. So the position at time 2 is 3. Which is what if the velocity is very, you said very negative, correct?
Yeah.
So what if the velocity is very negative? Time 2, velocity is
Negative 1 million.
negative 1 million. Really bad. Cruising, yes. It's very cool. Hey, look at me. Here's the idea. What Bailey's worried about is the fact that if the position is measured in meters, and this is meters per second, then in 1 second, it's going to be way down here, moving very rapidly away from the origin. Okay, come on, come on. Give me 1 or 2 of what I just said made sense. This is what Bailey's worried about. So with this situation, in 1 second, the particle is going to be way down here and moving very rapidly away from the origin. 2 points for the room. Okay, Bailey, what they're really asking is the following. At exactly that moment, which way is the particle? Exactly that moment, which way is it moving? So it's still going towards, even though it has this very high velocity. At that instant, it hasn't had time yet to go anywhere. Does that make sense? 1 or 2 if that makes sense to the room. 1 second, Chad. 2 points, Chad, please.
I don't know if this is like right, but if like the position is negative, or like the position of velocity for like different signs, wouldn't it automatically be moving towards the origin?
I have to check it real quick.
Or
I
if
think
they're like
you're
the
right.
same, then it's moving.
So let's do this. We have the position. We have the velocity. I've actually never done this, Chad. I think you're right. We have the position, we have the velocity. If they're both positive, moving away or toward. So that's moving away from the origin. If the position is positive, the velocity is negative, it's moving towards. If this is negative, negative, it's moving away.
So yeah, that's right.
Very nice. Perfect, nice done, 3 tickets. Sarah?
I'm just confused on the whole, like, can you just walk through the, if it's positive, why it's
Uh-huh. So without writing down any numbers, I think you'll have them. So if the position is positive, on which side of the origin will the particle be located, above or below? Above. So if the position is positive, the particle is located above. If the velocity is positive at that instant, is the particle going up or going down? Going up. So away from the origin. Is that your question? Anybody else? Okay, look at me. This does show up regularly, this idea of towards and away. Like I said to Kelsey, is it fair to say that once we've talked about it, it feels pretty simple? Yeah. Because I get that it's not the first time. So. Awesome, please.
So on like the answers, it always says handles change in direction at students turning. And I have no idea what that
I gotta look at the word test for a second.
He's like, what?
So you're looking at the answer, which one?
Just like on, there's a lot of them that just says.
I guess you just find an example.
All right. Number 7.
Hold on a second. Yeah, 7 wasn't assigned yet. Don't worry.
Did you do them all, Angelo? Yeah.
Good work.
That's how you're saying it's hard.
We'll talk later a little bit. So. Don't hesitate to ask the ones we are doing that kind of problem. Because I just have to see the problem and see the scoring, and then I can answer it. Okay, I want to go to, look, Kelsey, you good on that one?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go to Soren's comment, and then back to, actually I'm going to go to Deborah's first, then Soren. You're talking about number 1, correct? Outstanding question, 3 more tickets for Deborah. Listen, hey, what Deborah noticed is that when they ask you to find P prime of 12, she's remembering problems where finding P prime of 12 involved finding a secant slope to approximate a tangent slope by taking, y2 minus y1, etc. Key differences are these. When they want you to use a secant slope to approximate a tangent, they will always use the word estimate or approximate. So instead of saying find, they would have said estimate or approximate. The other key difference, Deborah, is this. In this problem, they've given 2 different ways to find the water temperature. One way is by looking up in a table called W, and the second way is by plugging values of T into a formula called P. And in this case, because they said find P prime of 12, they did not expect you to use the table. They just want you to use your calculator to find the derivative of p on your calculator. Is that your question?
That's just by acceleration.
It's similar to that. In this case, it's not really acceleration, but it's the same idea. You simply take this, put it in your calculator, find the derivative with your calculator.
Wait, how do you find the derivative with the calculator?
So you were gone last time. I'll just show you quickly.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay. This one goes fast. So sometimes when you're gone, I have to say, we'll go watch the video first, but this one goes quick. So quick example, Sarah. This is not the problem we're working on, but it's good enough to show you the example. Here's a formula for velocity. Okay? It's in Y3. If I want to find the derivative of that formula at some time, all you have to do in your calculator is go second quit, clear that off, and say math 8. And I put an X. I try to find the derivative of what's in Y3, so I say alpha trace 3, and I'm maybe trying to find it at time equal 5. Got to center.
So you can only do that if you kind of like at the same time.
Yes. And you can only do it on the portion of the test where calculators are allowed. If it were non-allowed, you have to do it by using the derivative rule. Is that your question?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
2 tickets for Sarah. There we go. Good. Cool. Okay, Soren asked about number 7. 7 wasn't assigned either. Or not 7, yes, but which one? It was different.
13.
13 was also not assigned.
Sorry.
Correct. However, it's really good that you asked because it is on the homework tonight's very short, and it's on the homework tonight. So, if you look at the board, look up. Everybody look up. Erica, look up. Erica, look up. Okay, the little thing we just did with Chad a second ago, that table, where was it? Well, it's back here. This was 14. This one right here. Look at this. Hey, we're going to do something very similar. This was relating like where the particle is and how fast it's going to be, helping you figure out is the particle going towards the origin or away. The exact same concept applies to figuring out whether a particle is speeding up or slowing down. Okay, whether a particle is speeding up or slowing down. The exact same concept applies. For example, one of the problems that was assigned last night is, I think it's number 9. Is it 9 there? Thank you. Perfect. So number 9, I would hope I had not deleted the page. That's swell. Hold on. Fix that problem. There we go. Okay, number 9 says find it. This also relates to your question, Sarah. It says find the acceleration of the particle at time equal 2. So Sarah just took a bite, so I won't ask her. Somebody else help me. Please keep eating. It doesn't bother me a bit. If we have the velocity and we're trying to find the acceleration at time equal 2, what do we do to find the acceleration at time equal 2? Someone help. Let's go, baby.
What we just did, which is the derivative.
Perfect, and actually I had the exact same equation, so we're in pretty good shape. So I write down on the paper that the derivative of the velocity at time equal, time equal 2, that's going to equal the same thing as the acceleration at time equal 2. And then we do what we showed Sarah, 2 points for Bailey. We go back to the calculator, and we do the same derivative. We just want it at time equal 2. Some people are not aware that the 84 has the following capabilities, so watch. Just in case everyone knows inside. So everyone knows, that's good. I do some things on the board and no one knows, so I can never keep track of what you have learned and what you haven't. So just back it up here and say 2. Press enter. 1.588. Back to the page, write it down. 1.588. So that is the acceleration at time equal 2. Okay, again, this problem does not have any units. But I'm going to put some units on the board to make the discussion make a little more sense. So what would be the most common units we have been using for acceleration? Perfect. I'm going to write it as meters per second, just to make a point here. You would have a question there. And the next part of the question that Soren was asking about is it says, is the speed of the particle increasing at that time? Here's what you must do to get the points on the AP test. Very similar to number 13, or I should say 14, where we compared the position to the velocity. Here we have to compare the velocity to the acceleration. Figure out whether the particle is speeding up or not. The reason why will become apparent. So we need to go find the velocity at time 2. Here's a method that I like. I go back to the calculator. I say y3 is my velocity. So I just type y3. Wrong one. Clear that off. Alpha trace 3. Then I just put parenthesis 2. That gives me the velocity at time 2. I get 2.728. Come back here, write it down. That would be meters per second. Question. Okay. I write it in this kind of awkward way because I want you to really clearly understand what velocity means. The velocity means that in 1 second, based on this rate, the position would be negative 2.7 meters more negative than the position currently is. That's what is meant by velocity. So one more time. 1 second from now, the position will be negative 2.7 meters down from where it currently is, or left from where it currently is, depending on how the particle is traveling. 1 or 2 if that makes perfect sense. That's the meaning of the word velocity. It is the rate that the position is changing at. 2 points for the room. Acceleration is simply the rate at which the velocity is changing. So what that means is, 1 second from now, this velocity will become this much different. 1 second from now, this velocity will be this much different than the velocity currently is. That's what is meant by acceleration. So check the whole room on this one. We've got 2 options here. I want everyone voting. Option 1 is that this is the velocity and this is the acceleration. And if we just go forward in time a little bit, is the velocity based on this acceleration going to become more negative? Or option 2, is the velocity going to become less negative based on this acceleration value? Just give me 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Is the velocity going to become more negative or less negative based on these numbers? More negative or less negative? We're kind of all over the map, so 2 points for everybody trying, about half and half. Here's how it works. I could do an estimate. I could say this. The velocity at time 2.0, let's just do 2.1 to not make it too complicated. So 2.1. The velocity at 2.1 is approximately equal to the velocity right now plus amount that the velocity will change in the next tenth of a second. Okay, I don't know exactly how much the velocity will change in a tenth of a second, but I can approximate it using this rate at which the velocity is changing. So I write that down, I say, okay, so every second, the velocity changes by 1.588. So if a tenth of a second goes by, if I multiply by a tenth of a second, notice the units. The seconds divide out, and I'm left with the amount that the velocity will change by. So now my estimate for v of 2.1 is this number, meters per second, plus, if you multiply this by 0.1, somebody pick up the 3 tickets and tell me what do you get. 0.159 meters per second. That's what acceleration means. It's how much the velocity changes per unit of time. So if only a tenth of a second goes by, the velocity is only going to change by this amount. So option 1 is, as time goes by, if this is the velocity and this is the acceleration, is the velocity going to become more negative? Or option 2, is the velocity going to become less negative? Vote again. Show me your vote. Is option 1 or 2? Is the velocity going to become less negative or more negative based on this explanation? So here's our velocity. This is our new velocity. It's going to take the current velocity and add to it the amount that the velocity is going to change by, creating a new value of v of 2.1. Is that new value going to be more negative or less negative than the current if this is what we're doing? 1 second, Sarah. Got a lot more uniformity this time in our response. Doing this, give yourself 2 tickets. Sarah, please.
So just to like make sure the picture in my head is right. So in my head I'm having the graph, like just a graph, and then the line's getting closer to the particle is getting closer to the x-axis because it's starting
Perfect.
at negative, and since it's getting less negative, it's slowing down, going to the.
That was well done. So you're thinking of the graph, which would look like this. Hold on a second. So let's go Windows 0 to 3. Zoom fit. 3 tickets for Sarah. That was really well thought out. So here's the plot of the velocity you're thinking of. And what you're noticing is if we go to time equal 2, so here's the velocity, the trace on here. So I say trace, I go to time equal 2, and what Sarah just said is perfect. There's the current velocity. Looking at the graph of velocity becomes easier to see that if we go over in time just a little bit, the velocity is definitely becoming less negative. The velocity is becoming less negative. So the particle's moving to the left, but not as fast. Okay? 1 or 2 of what I just said made perfect sense. Velocity, the particle's moving to the left, it's not going as fast to the left. So it's slowing down. 2 tickets. So back to here. The big idea is really pretty simple again. Oh, please talk to me.
Usually, isn't it usually if the acceleration is negative, then it's slowing down?
What you're remembering is something that works perfectly if you only talk about positive velocities. But as soon as you throw in a negative velocity, it doesn't work so perfectly. Let me show. For example, but your thinking is right on. If I have a velocity at some time, and we'll use easy numbers again. We'll say -3, and we'll say that's meters per second. And then we'll have an acceleration at that same time, like the one we just did that's some positive number. We'll say like 2 meters per second every second. So let's check the whole room. We'll do all the other examples in a second, Jackson. Okay, everyone in the room, answer this. Look up. This is the situation. Just look at the values. This tells you how the velocity is going to change. So again, here are your options. Option 1 says, if this is the situation, at this instant, the velocity is becoming, let's see, less negative is option 1. Option 2 is the velocity is becoming more negative. Tell me, in this situation, just look at the values. Here's my acceleration, here's my velocity. This tells you how the velocity is going to be changing. So it's going to be becoming less negative or more. Show me your fingers. Less negative or more. Now we're cooking. So 2 points for the room. Less negative. Perfect. Next question. Option 1 or 2. Does that mean the particle is slowing? Or does that mean the particle is speeding up? We know the particle is going left because it has a negative value. 1 or 2, is the object slowing or speeding up? Come on, show me. 1 or 2, is the object slowing or speeding up? 1 or 2, is the object slowing or speeding up? 2 points for the room. Because the velocity is becoming less negative, still going left, but remember, the speed of the particle is you ignore the sign. When talking about the speed of the particle, you pay no attention to the sign, just the magnitude. So if this number is less negative, like negative 2.9, the speed is just 2.9, whereas the speed was 3. So the particle is slowing down. Does that help, Amanda? Please.
Actually, this is actually what I
Oh, thank you. Perfect.
If the value of the acceleration is greater than the value of the velocity, what is the speed?
It's the same thing we talked to Bailey about. That if you had this situation, like v of 2 is negative 3 meters per second, and the acceleration is, say, 1 million. That was our favorite number a minute ago. It still doesn't matter because they're asking for what's happening right at that instant.
Because it would be slowing down the one that is before.
Yeah, it'll change very quickly. It'll change very quickly. But at that instant, it's slowing.
Is it asking if like the position is less negative or the acceleration?
It's only asking if the particle is speeding up or slowing down, so it has nothing to do with the position.
Okay.
It doesn't care where the particle is. It only wants to know is the particle going faster and faster or slower and slower. Please.
So it has more to do with the sign than the number?
Totally the sign. Totally the sign. And that's why I said it's very related to what Chad just pointed out. In this case, because the velocity is negative, and the acceleration is positive, that positive acceleration makes this velocity less negative. Less negative means the particle is slowing down as it moves to the left. 1 or 2 of what I just said made perfect sense. 2 points for the room. Please, Sarah.
So can you use like the table that Chad said to see like if it's opposite signs then it's slowing and if it's the same speed?
Pretty close. Oh yeah, in fact, right on. So here we have opposite signs, particles slowed down. I can't remember which one Jackson asked about, so I got off on another question. You were asking about,
Well, if the acceleration is negative.
oh, there you go. Try this one, Jackson. Everyone in the room, please. Look up. Everyone in the room, we're going to vote again. Here the velocity is currently negative. The acceleration tells us how the velocity is going to be changing at that instant. So 1 or 2, is the velocity going to be becoming more negative or less negative? Show me your hands. More negative or less negative? More negative or less negative? The velocity is currently negative 3. This says that the velocity is going to be changing by negative 5 every second, or something less than negative 5. So it's going to be becoming more negative or less negative. Got a few people not quite there. More negative or less negative. You're doing this to yourself too, so you talk to me. Don't mix you up. You did this.
I didn't, wait.
You did, it's more negative. You said less negative.
Oh, I meant I got it.
You know, no worries, my bad, sorry. The finger thing, very confusing, Cindy. Pretty soon I'll be saying, put your pinky like this or your thumb there. Just kidding. Sorry. I get confused myself. No worries. Just trying to. I know it's kind of weird, and I don't think a lot of teachers do this, but I'm just trying to figure out a way to make sure it's making sense to everybody. So, I hope that's helpful. Anybody else have a question? Please.
Could we put Chad's chart up on the wall? Is that
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, you make me a nice framework, I'll put it on the wall.
Okay, cool.
It's gotta look good.
It has to be called Chad's chart.
It's got, his name is even catchier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious, I put it on the wall for
Chad's
sure.
chart. All right.
Go down in history, man, just make a nice one, you can make a deluxe color, you know, get Chad pointing to it like his picture and stuff. You know. Swear it, like, I'm serious. You can, like, so far I've got, like, this was a donation, you know, so Carly Stoffer and Laura Stanley. This is, Danica didn't give me this. It was given to me by Dallin Ott. He created, signed his name, and
We're gonna say Dallin Richardson.
please, Derek. I say I should actually get credit. Oh, that's true. First one to give me a charge. So.
Derek Straight.
I would go to Danica and Derek's chart. I'll think your brother. She's already married. So lost out. This one here. This was Jackson's question. Hey, look up. This was Jackson's question. This is the situation, and this acceleration is causing the velocity to become more negative. Give me one or two if the particle is slowing or speeding up. Well, one or two if the particle is slowing or speeding up. The particle is going to the left because the velocity is negative. As it does so, its velocity is becoming more and more negative. Remember, the speed of the particle is the velocity without a sign. So the velocity is getting more negative as the particle is going to speed up or slow down. Doing this, give yourself 2 tickets. You have a question? Please.
So are there going to be any problems where it's like a constant speed? So like it wouldn't be.
Oh, either way.
Yeah.
It can't happen. Somebody can answer this. Hey, look, time out particle motion. Again, it's the position, velocity, acceleration. Which of those three would indicate with assurance that the speed is constant? Only one of them really indicates that. Please.
Acceleration.
Perfect. Because acceleration is how much the velocity is changing. If the acceleration is 0, the speed is constant. Does that make sense? Cool. There we go. Okay. So the chart on this one is exactly what I think Sarah Lauder said it. If the signs of velocity and acceleration are the same, the particle is speeding up. If the signs are different, the particle is slowing down. And when you're answering a question, that's all you have to write. So back here, let's erase some of this work. This was just kind of helping to explain. Get rid of all this. So, all you write on your paper is since, that's a big marker. So you say since V of 2 is negative and A of 2 is positive, the speed is decreasing. You can abbreviate decreasing. Please.
So I didn't look at the answer like the justifying like on the back, and I just wrote like particle speed at t equals 2 is decreasing when the time period is negative. Would that not be the point that I just find it?
Yeah, they really do expect you to compare velocity and acceleration. No worries. Anybody else? Okay, I don't know exactly when they're going to dismiss this for the assembly, so I got to show you one more new thing for tonight's homework. This one seems to work. I don't know if it works by me just acting it out. So just put your pencil in, just look at me. Right, I'm not very good of an actor, but I'm doing my best. So if I'm a particle and I count my steps, like everybody count, ready? Don't count, I just count yourself. So I go 1 step, another step, and another step, and then I go back 1. Raise your hand if you know my change in position. One hand. What was my change in position, Aspen? 2. How many knew it was 2? 2 tickets, 3 for Aspen. Raise your hand if you know my total distance traveled. Show me a total distance traveled, Sydney.
3.
No worries. 4. How many knew it was 4? 2 tickets, 3 for Sydney. Okay. We've already talked about how to compute change in position. We compute change in position by doing the integral of the velocity. So don't forget, change in position is found by integrating the velocity. Okay? Now watch me do the steps again. That means if I go 1, 2, 3 steps to the right and then 1 step to the left, that the integral is counting some distance as positive and some distance as negative, so it can come up with a change in position of 2. 1 or 2 if that just made sense. 1 or 2 if that made sense. So the integral to come up with a change in position of 2 had to count 3 of my steps as positive and 1 of my steps as negative, 2 points. Okay. But if I want to go total distance traveled, we don't want it to count anything as negative, okay? So what you have to do is make sure that you are considering always, you want the velocity to basically be always positive. So the total distance is what Chad's thinking. It's the integral of the speed. That's how you find total distance traveled. It's the integral of the speed. Please keep those separate. They love to ask that on the AP test. One year they asked total distance traveled. Next year they asked change in position. So you've got to keep them separate. If I'm looking at total distance traveled, I kind of want to think of it as being, I don't want to count anything negatively. Just want to add up all those distances. Therefore you integrate the speed. Please don't make this mistake. You can't put the bars outside of the integral. That's different. That's finding the absolute value of the change in position. Like watch this one. Watch me. If I go 1 this way, then I go like this, raise your hand if you know my change in position. One. Who knows my change in position for that? Awesome. Ellie? Positive or negative? Yeah, negative would mean my position changed to the left. So -2. How many knew that? 2 tickets, 3 for Ellen. So that was a change in position of -2. What was my total distance traveled? Come on, hands, hands, hands. What was my total distance traveled? Hands. What was my total distance traveled? Annika. 4. How many knew that? 2 points, 3 for Annika. Okay, so if you want total distance traveled, you would have had to integrate my speed. If you took the absolute value of my change in position, what would the answer would have been? 2. See the difference? Okay. Any questions? Please.
How do you get the absolute value on the calculator?
So on the 84, fastest way is you go second, and then hit the 0, which is the catalog. First one from the left. Perfect. Abs, there you go.
Well, you can use the math button and go over 1.
That works as well. Thank you, Jackson. Yeah, I'll pass out the homework, then I'll just keep answering questions until they dismiss us to the assembly. The homework's really short tonight. It's a nice detailed homework. I don't give you homework because I want you to. I'm not like the one who knows Look up, please. While we're waiting, hey. Does anyone have a different question? We kind of got off on the homework on some concepts you needed for tonight. Does anyone have a different question from the homework they brought with them to class? Please, great.
So on number 6, the answers are like on that back of the sheet, they're given in like pi and 2 pi. But when I did it, I got the decimal answers.
Totally valid.
Is it okay to just do the 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Either way is acceptable.
Okay.
Please, hi.
I have a question on when
You're good.
Well, it's not that question.
No worries.
Oh, number 10.
10 plus.
It gave like a 2 pi answer too, and then when it says on the back of the thing it says justify your answer, you have to have the 2 pi, or can you just have the decimal?
You can have the decimal.
So like for your answer, with the decimal, can you put like the direction of the particle changes when the velocity equals 0, and then can you put that as your, and then say,
Let me write down what you wrote, and I'll tell you whether it's valid or not. I'll just help you. So just tell me, you did the work on your calculator.
yeah.
And then tell me what you wrote.
The direction of the particle changes when the velocity equals 0.
Oh, pause right there. So you don't want to say that, because when the velocity is equal to 0, the particle is stopping, so it wouldn't necessarily have to change direction. Like if the graph of the velocity looked like this one, it's a really good question, Heidi. If the graph of the velocity looked like this, the correct answer would be the particle never changes direction, because the velocity never changes sign. So what you want to say instead is the particle changes direction when the velocity changes sign.
Okay.
So you say the particle changes direction when the velocity changes sign, which occurs at t equal whatever.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that your question.
Yeah.
Perfect. We can take one.
So on 15, for like, it says show the punctuation that leads to your answer, but then on like the scoring, it asks for a justification. So I just didn't know if like.
Oh, you're okay. On Riemann sum problems, when they say show the computations that lead to your answer, they just want you to show the way we've done it before on the Riemann sum. When you look at the scoring guide, 15, correct?
Yes.
The scoring guide can be confusing. Just keep asking about it. Here's how they'll score it. If you're taking my test, the grader's going to look at your answer probably first. They'll see you have 229 and give you 1 point. He then looks to see, did you show the computations? Like did you show a bunch of things being added up and multiplied? As long as you did, then you'll get the point right here. The third point is different. This one's important to talk about. Yeah, I want eyes on me. Look up here, everybody. Okay, the reason I say the third is so important is because it's actually a very easy point to earn. But I have found in the past that for some reason people aren't earning the easy point. All you have to do is say, oh, I got you now, like that. I got you, I'm with you, I'm totally with you. Every look at the board. That third point was not included in the homework. On the actual AP test, there was an additional question here. I just left it off the homework. So on the AP test, it said, explain the meaning of your answer using correct units. I just didn't want to have you worry about that quite yet. So apologize for that. So I should have fixed the key so it didn't include that in the answer. So please.
On a problem like this, would then like the geometry computations were wrong, that left we give the wrong answer?
Good comment. Here's my theory. I can't promise you that this is true, but I think it is. If you show the correct types of computations to find the midpoint Riemann sum, for example, it's easier if I just write it down. So I'm doing this integral from 0 to 40 of the velocity, and it's approximately equal to midpoint Riemann sum for subintervals. So I'm dividing it like this. And I go to the middle point, so I take v of 5 multiplied by the width of that subinterval, which is 10. And then I move on and do it again and again and again, right? Here's just a guess. I can't guarantee it. My guess is if you put this, and then on the next line you just misread and write 9.5 instead of 9.2, that you'll still get the 1 point for showing the computation. Because the grader can clearly see that you understood what to compute. You just made a kind of lookup error. So you get one of the two. Okay. Bailey.
So on the back when it says meaning units, does that mean that you have to explain what the units mean?
You don't have to explain what the units mean. We can do this one really quick. We're integrating velocity. You all know we've been talking about it. When you Find the integral of velocity. What do you find? Change in position. So all you have to write for the explain the meaning with units is this. The part people forget is you must account for every single part of this integral. You must say something about 0, something about 40, something about the velocity. Okay, got to talk about all of them, plus the answer, which was 229. So I would write this. I'd say, because the plane is only has a positive velocity, the distance traveled and the change of position are the same thing. So I could say the following. I could say from, let's see, I've got to use units for everything. I can't forget any units. From t equals 0 minutes to t equal 40 minutes, the plane travels, I think 1L, right? Plane travels 229, and they must have units here as well, miles. So when it says explain the answer using correct units, it's like you must use units for this number, and this number. And as long as you include all 3 units and all 3 numbers, then you'll get that point. It's really easy one to get as long as you just don't forget the units. Having graded a lot of student tests, that's the biggest problem, is people will say, from t equals 0 to 40, the plane travels 229 miles. No points. They forgot the units. Or they'll say, from t, oh, they'll say this one. They'll see,
Haley Hyde, please come to the attendance office. Haley Hyde,
Yes, we're not
please
leaving.
come to the attendance office.
Longer assembly than planned. Other questions? Anybody? Guess we'll just chill. This should be, excuse me, it's pretty simple. Oh, gotcha. My goal would be